Welcome to the Gritcast, where we get into the nitty-gritty of all things hockey. From the East to the West Coast. Here are your hosts, Matt Pierce, Nikosh Ganguly, and Darius Dominguez.
Welcome back to episode number 14 of the Gritcast. Shout out to my co-hosts, Darius and Matt. How we feeling this week? We're getting closer to the holiday season.
Yeah. Getting close. Still not done my shopping, but it's a different story.
I'm close, but still stressful. I'm close to finishing my shopping.
Oh, I haven't even started.
What did you get me?
Oh my god. What did I get you?
What did you get me? Yeah.
We'll talk about that after the recording.
Okay.
He didn't get you anything.
That's
okay.
right.
Probably not. No.
Welcome back to the show, everyone. Hope everyone is enjoying their December so far. As I said, we're getting closer and closer to, the stress of the holiday season. Maybe some people are already stressed, but not me. I'm a low-key nonchalant guy. You feel me? All right. So recently, the Leafs played Dallas 2 days ago. Pretty fun game. I thought Matt Murray, 44 save shutout. Not bad from the guy who Ottawa paid us to give. So, paid us to get.
And retained on.
Yeah. And retained salary. We got a third and a seventh for Matt Murray, who's like one of the best goalies in the league right now. So, pretty cool.
And wasn't that performance one of the best in a shutout?
Yeah, it was like the best one ever recorded since they started keeping track of like the advanced goalie stats, like goals saved above average. So he had a goal saved above average of like 6, which for people that don't know essentially means based on like expected goals and like the shot metrics and everything. The Dog Stars should have scored 6 goals and they scored none. So pretty good performance by Matt Murray. And honestly, I know it looks pretty lopsided just like for the Leafs, but like I thought the Leafs played pretty good, all things considered. Victor Mete went down pretty early, so they were running 5 defensemen. I think Justin Holl played like 26 minutes. Mark Giordano's playing like 20-plus minutes every night. So, and Senny and Liljegren look amazing, which I am very excited for because I love both of those guys. Darius, how did you feel about the game?
It was a great game, and Matt Murray was like lights out. Like he has arrived. We weren't sure about him before because obviously he played the one game. Montreal ended up winning. I thought he looked good in that game, but anyway, then he gets hurt, and then you're kind of like, oh shit, here we go. But now they have like a 1-2 punch that like goaltending is not a question for the Leafs now. Like Dubas has completely taken care of it, and the media blows everything out of proportion in a way because it was like doomsday with Campbell leaving, and sorry, Matt, it looks like that was a good move to let him walk and to get Matt Murray and take a chance on these two guys, right? Which I don't even think. You're not even taking a chance with Samsonov because we know he can be a good goalie and he's shown it, right? So, Matt Murray was great. Not enough has been said about Mark Giordano. Like playing for, what does he make? 800,000?
800,000, yeah.
And he's eating these minutes. He's 39, I think. He turns 40, I think, next year. He's been solid. Justin Hall's out here playing baseball. But no, he's been grabbing the puck and throwing it. Like you can't do that. But honestly, like he takes a lot of flack, but every Leafs team has that one guy that people just like shit on.
Hall's been good, like
but he's been good
the last month or so.
Yeah.
And like don't get me wrong, if you check my tweets, I was hating on the guy. I'm man enough to admit it. Same thing with Marner. I'm man enough to admit that. But everyone has looked good. Everyone's playing good except for Alex Kerfoot. Yes. I mean, he did get that empty net goal. Good for him. Although, I just don't think he's been playing that well.
Hopefully that goes to his legs though. There's just something psychologically that like when you
scoring a goal, right?
Even if it's an empty net, like I think like I expect a big game now coming up because
for sure
it does something for you. It puts something in your legs. But man, they look great. Sorry, go ahead, Matt.
Oh, sorry. No, finish off the thought and then I'll go in.
Okay. But yeah, I was going to say Marner too, continuing his streak. I'm sure we'll get into it, but like he's looked amazing too. And he's been scoring. He didn't score in this game, but he's been scoring. He's been shooting more. He looks more dangerous. So obviously not a big fan of his either, but we can get to that. It's not that I'm not a big fan. I just think they might be a better team without him. But in terms of salary, obviously he's a skilled player. But Matt?
Clip that one, fellas. Clip that one.
Yeah, normally I sit back on Leafs talk, but fellas, there's a sequence in the game that 5-on-3 when Marner broke his stick. That's one of the wildest sequences I've seen in quite some time. That was ridiculous. Like the IQ of putting Marner's broken stick into a lane to sort of, create that obstacle for the
Yeah.
Stars. That was a big brain move.
Which
I give my
tactically smart for Marner to do that.
very smart.
But I don't want to be the downer in this. That's a penalty. You can't technically touch a broken stick. Like you can't place it.
No, you can move
it out of the way.
You can like move with your skate, but like.
But didn't he like go down and like move it with his arm? Maybe I'm not remembering it properly.
Low key though, fellas, if I was Dallas, I would have just scored on the power play.
Yeah,
if it was me,
facts.
I would have just.
Yeah.
I think they had like
5-on-3.
Yeah,
5-on-2.
And like, I think only one guy had their stick. Like I think Liljegren had a stick, and that was it. Like the other 2 sticks were broken or something. It was just that kind of penalty kill really like cements a win. I feel like
Yeah.
It's such a big momentum shift. Like when you kill something like that. So it was cool. Unfortunately, as a hockey fan, Jason Robertson's point streak ends. As a Leafs fan, it's pretty awesome. But as a hockey fan, it sucks because he's been on a tear. I don't think that's gonna stop him. But yeah, always like Matthews has been he's back. If there was doubt there, Nylander's been great. Tavares has been great. Everyone's been good. Like I have no complaints except for Kerfoot. That's literally it. So
and can I add that like if we're complaining about Kerfoot, like we should get a hobby. Because like,
hey, bro,
with a team like that, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
no, but what I mean is like I complain about Kerfoot. Everyone's complaining about Kerfoot right now. Like, oh, he's not scoring. But like, Tavares he's on pace for 40 goals. So is Matthews. Marner has a 20-game point streak. So is Nylander, which I think he might slow down here. Like Nylander's like a 35-goal guy.
Nylander was like high 30s last year. I think he'd get it 40. He's been dynamic,
we'll
bro.
See. He has.
He's been dynamic.
No, but that's one thing. I'm glad you brought that up. That the whole team, I've noticed, like Matthews, especially defensively, he's always been pretty good. But this year, I noticed like, oh, he's not scoring as much or whatever through the same amount of games. But he looks great defensively. A lot of guys do, especially like Nylander, right? And Marner, I think I saw he's the second best defensive forward since the start of November in the league.
Yeah, they're saying he should definitely get some Selke recognition.
Yes.
But the way the Selke trophy is made, it's like a center's always going to win.
The thing with the Selke too is like, remember that one year Mark Stone
it's
should have
won?
won
It's the Bergeron award. Yeah, that's all it is now.
And they're only going to give it to a center because centers are defensive. But like Mark Stone should have won it that one year, and they'll never give it to a winger. Like it's
so, dude. I was so appalled when Mark Stone didn't win it that one year.
He should have, because he was the best defensive forward,
and he was one of the best players in the league, like generally speaking. So that's a whole different conversation. We can get into award talk later in the year, but I think just great game from the Leafs. The Stars, get good, score on the power play maybe once or twice, see how it goes. But yeah, and then so on the other side, also in Canada, the Edmonton Oilers. We talk about the Leafs and Oilers a lot, obviously based on who we cheer for. We know the minutia more. I saw this a lot happening on Twitter. Don't want to bury the lead here, but Puljujarvi said I think he said himself he's not playing good. Right? There was a quote.
Yeah, it was.
I only have like.
Sorry, yeah, it was to the Finnish media.
Yeah, and then Mark Spector, great guy, stand-up dude, just was like, just tore into him. I feel like he's been doing that a lot, like even through the whole like off-season saga. But Matt, I'll let you take the reins here because I think you know it a little more.
Yeah, when it comes to Mark Spector, he kind of chooses his scapegoats. If the team is doing pretty well or even bad, like last year in the playoffs too, he was choosing his scapegoats, and it's kind of ridiculous because the Edmonton media, like, it's a very small market. Like, you have the Oilers, you don't really have anything else in that town, so the pressure is on, and it just makes it a lot worse for the players. When the media is openly ripping on you, kind of have to find a new change of scenery. And Puljujarvi, it's not deserved at all. Sure, he's not putting up the points that the eye test is really looking for, but he does all the little things very well. And it's very frustrating when Spector, who else does it? Jim Matheson, and then there's a bunch of other old dudes. I think those are the main two that I'm thinking of. But it's just frustrating because the fan base likes to see these guys succeed, and when the media is, hey, just leave town already, it makes things a whole lot worse than they really need to be. And it was Puljujarvi interviewed to Finnish media, and then the Edmonton media tried questioning him at the morning skate, and he declined comments. Like, why should he have to add on to what he said? He said what he needed to say. So yeah, it's just it's frustrating. It's very frustrating.
I think it's the type of thing that like he's a great player, and we've seen what he can do, right? And he's a great asset for the Oilers, but like maybe I think he just needs a change of scenery. Like I think he's just done there. Like unfortunately,
yeah,
right? Because we know what he can do. He's done.
Because I think his qualifying offers something like, don't quote me on this, like 3.6 million. And then I don't think Holland would qualify him just based on what Holland has seen so far in the season. And, like he's a great player. Like I said, he does all the small things every little thing I should say instead on the ice very well. It's just he's unlucky. There's a few chances against the Rangers on Shesterkin. He had 2 solid chances and he just couldn't buy a goal in that one.
Mm-hmm.
Should be interesting to see what happens down the stretch because he's only an RFA at the end of the next year too. And if this is already happening now, it's a long way away.
I think Darius, I'm with you. He needs to be traded.
Yeah.
Whether the Oilers fans love him or not, I think it's the same thing with Patrick Laine. You know, like it's like trade the guy or lean into him more. And I don't like. I mean, obviously the Oilers media is they're kind of driving him away every time he does something wrong. They're so quick to point it out. So and like. When you look at it from a service level, the guy doesn't put up points. But as Matt said, when you watch them, he's doing all the right things. It's just it hasn't happened. It reminds me of Valeri Nichushkin on the Avalanche.
Mm-hmm. Perfect comparison. Yeah.
When all the advanced stats for Nichushkin were like he's really good. He drives play. He's good defensively, but he just can't put up the production hasn't come yet. But then the Avalanche is bet on the production. Usually good players start to put up points at some point. So eventually it happens. So I think Puljujarvi would be a good grab for anybody, any team that just needs I wouldn't say secondary scoring because the guy doesn't score. But if you're willing to wait it out a little bit, I think there's definitely a real good player there. And I would hate for him to have to go back to Finland or something, which people have been talking about. I think it would be dumb. I think he's most definitely an NHL caliber player. So I just as much as the Oilers need a guy like Puljujarvi, they have to trade a guy who is Puljujarvi. You know what I mean?
And keep in mind, this isn't the first instance of the Edmonton media sort of choosing a scapegoat because they did it to Eberle, Hall. Who else? Oh, Justin Schultz was the most notable one. Like Justin Schultz, he wasn't the worst, but he was transported to a role in which he really couldn't service that young, and he was forced to. And then the media just chose him and repeatedly went after him until he left town. So until the Edmonton media sort of changes the guard from the old to the new guys, because the athletic writer for the Oilers, Daniel Nugent-Bowman, excellent guy. He should be doing the main stuff over Spector and Matheson. But until that guard changes, then they're just going to keep choosing scapegoats until, one after another, they all leave.
Yeah, for sure. And we'll swap now to another Canadian team. A big story. Vancouver Canucks. I think it was, what day was it? Saturday? I can't remember.
Yeah, it was Saturday when they played the Arizona. Yeah.
So it's Hockey Fights Cancer Night. And Brock Boeser is a scratch. And we all know his dad passed away recently. From cancer. So it would have been nice for Boeser to play that game. And Bruce Boudreau said he didn't know it was Hockey Fights Cancer Night, which honestly, you know what? I believe the guy. Bruce Boudreau doesn't seem like a guy who would lie about that.
Why would you even lie about that?
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know why people be like, oh, why would he lie and say that? I just don't think he knew. And he literally said okay, if I knew, obviously Brock Boeser would have never been a healthy scratch. So, but he played. He scored the tying goal, which was cool. But before that happened, when he was supposed to be healthy scratch before, Dakota Joshua got injured in warmups, which that definitely happened for sure because I think Dakota Joshua played the next game. But Dakota Joshua actually, I think he had a hat trick yesterday. I know to not go off topic here. He was a Leafs draft pick in 2014.
Yeah, I didn't even know that.
I didn't know that either.
He was a Leafs draft pick. Yeah, pretty crazy. But so Brock Boeser, his agent is, they said they can look for a trade. Vancouver apparently said they're willing to take less, whatever that means, to get him off the books. The Vancouver Canucks are a joke of an organization, bro. I don't know. They signed Brock Boeser to an extension. They signed JT Miller to an extension. Now they don't want either guy. Okay. I don't know. They they wanted Thatcher Demko to be like Dominic Hasek levels of better than everyone else this year for them to be good. And, it's kind of hard for anybody to be Dominic Hasek. So I don't know what they were doing. But my question to you guys is, if Brock Boeser were to get traded, give me 2 places you think would be a decent start for
him. At this current time, I mean, he's a Minnesota boy, and the Minnesota Wild, he could be a really good fit there.
I was thinking that too.
I was thinking Minnesota just for offense, and they're more electric now. Like, you know what I mean, with Kaprizov and stuff. The other team, maybe Pittsburgh. How's Kapanen look in a Canucks jersey?
Probably as bad as he looks in all the other jerseys he's played in.
Exactly.
But Kapanen also had a hat trick pretty recently. So guy's weird. Kapanen is like, one night he'll be your best player, and the next night he'll just get into the offense, don't stop, shoot it into the goalie's pad, and then go to the bench. So
that's called doing an Alexei Yashin. That's a Yashin right there.
So yeah, it's classic. But yeah, I think Brock Boeser would look good in Minnesota, especially they lost Kevin Fiala, but they are in like extreme cap hell there. Like not even like good team cap hell. When like good teams are capped out because they're good, which makes sense. But they're just like the Parise and Suter buyouts. They obviously are getting to them a little bit. So I don't know if they could even trade for a guy like Brock Boeser because he does make a decent amount of money. I don't know if Darius you can pull it up, but
do you want his salary?
Yeah.
6.65.
Yeah, 6.65 for what, 3 years?
3 more years.
Yeah, so 3 more. I don't know if the Wild could actually
3 years after this one. Sorry.
Yeah. Oh wow, his extension kicks in next year. Or is it a 4-year deal?
I think it was a 4-year deal. He signed it last year, right?
Okay. When he signed it in the offseason.
Sorry,
I don't remember.
I don't know if I'm looking at this correctly.
I don't remember. But
I'm pretty sure it expires in 25, 26. So.
Yeah, that's fine. But honestly, Pittsburgh, low-key a good shout. Trying to think like LA I could even see just because LA's been in on everyone.
Yeah, but the Canucks wouldn't trade him to a division rival.
Which I think is stupid. I think if you should just trade for whoever's going to give you the best return. I've always been in that mindset. Like if LA gives you more than Minnesota, trade him to LA. Who cares? You know what I mean? Just, you're trying to be better. Who cares about the other teams? But
Matt Murray.
Yeah. Whatever. that was different though. That was different. Yeah. But I think I was gonna say like low key, he could look good on a few Canadian teams as well. Like I think the Oilers could use a guy like Brock Boeser.
Especially need defense more than anything.
I was gonna say the Oilers.
No, I know, no. I know, but like when you have like maybe there's a deal there with like a Puljujarvi or something. Maybe make a swap or something. I don't know. Maybe there's something there, but. You're right. The Oilers do need a defenseman. I don't know who that's going to be. We'll get into that a little bit later when we let Matt do his weekly Oilers rant. But yeah, Brock Boeser, probably on the move soon. I'm honestly looking forward to that because I feel like Brock Boeser can be really good again. He's dealt with so much injuries. Obviously his father, and it's just been a lot for him. So I do think he needs a change of scenery just in general. There's too much media clout again, similar to like Puljujarvi, and like obviously his play has dipped recently. He just signed a new extension in the bank. The Canucks are like, even though they've won a little bit recently, I think that's just a toxic organization. Just the way it is. So Brock Boeser, man, we'll definitely follow this story on the show, but we'll see when he gets traded. But Jacob Trouba has been in the news a lot lately because of his antics with the Rangers. I think he hit a guy. I don't remember who. It was on the Blackhawks. I think. I can't remember exactly.
Oh, Athanasiu.
And then Athanasiu was like, I thought this was hilarious when he was like, the guy makes $8 million and he has no goals. I thought that was hilarious. That was super funny. And then there's a clip of like Trouba skating off, and he looks he's yelling at the Rangers bench and whips his helmet at the glass. And I'm like, this is the captain of the New York Rangers. You know what I mean? He makes a lot of money. A little bit, probably overpaid at this point, but I know, Darius, before we start the show, you want to say something about Trouba, so I'll let you take the stand here.
Yeah, I thought, like, when they announced him... Okay, actually, before I forget, Ovechkin did the same thing one time. He got in a fight, and he started, like, flipping out on the bench, and everyone was like, whoa, this is the captain of the Washington Capitals. And then they won the cup. So that was interesting.
But there's also the opposite side, too, where there's Bennington who gets lit up, and then he decides to chirp at the Penguins bench.
That is different too, yeah.
Just leave the ice, but go on.
Yeah, so Yeah, Bennington, that's a whole nother story. We should talk about it too.
He's a
He's a goofball.
head case.
Yeah,
Yep.
but what was I gonna say? Yeah, even when they made him the captain, when they had that announcement, I thought it was weird. Like, shouldn't Kreider? Like, I know the team maybe voted on it and GM
I
decision
think
and all that stuff.
Kreider is Zibanejad.
But shouldn't Kreider be the captain? Like, he's been there the longest out of anyone on the team. I'm pretty sure has to be the longest tenured.
For sure.
Scored like 50 goals last year. Sick player. He leads by example clearly because he's out there busting his ass. Yeah,
he's hard-nosed.
He's the type of player you want. Like he's a playoff player. They keep saying that, like the Matthew Tkachuk's or whatever. That's a guy who can score and he's a playoff player. So that would be for me. Zibanejad maybe too. Like he's a great player, but maybe not so much like Kreider. I would choose Kreider. That's just as an outsider. I just thought like out of everyone, Trouba's interesting.
Yeah, for sure. And I think it's a lot more interesting because it's like the New York Rangers. They're worth the most in the league. So
yeah.
It would just be. I think that's a lot more interesting. But I think we could touch on Jordan Binnington just because. I think Craig Berube finally came out and said this guy just needs to stop pucks. Which is something he doesn't really do too often anymore, unfortunately. But he got into like a usual Jordan Binnington antics. I think it finally came to like a climax here. Matt, I know you're a big Jordan Binnington guy. What do you think about him?
I think he's just a goalie that sort of like caught fire at the very right time in the very right place with St. Louis in 2019, and ever since then it's just been downhill.
Painfully average.
I hate him for sure because now hear me out. He was the Owen Sound Attacks goalie when they beat the Majors in the 2011 OHL playoffs.
So 11 years ago?
Yes. So
that's a long grudge to hold.
Yes. No,
okay, I still hold.
He sucks.
I'm
joking. That's just a fun fact. I'm joking. But no, he's an asshole. The way he plays. Zucker could have really got hurt there, concussed, everything. He could have lost consciousness and like flew into the boards. Like you can't like elbow. Like you're not Billy Smith. It's not
you can't fly elbow. It's not WWE.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Like you're not Shawn Michaels on the top rope, dude. Like relax. So
I feel like it's gonna come to a point where there's like an all-out brawl, and the Blues are involved, and there's a potential for a goalie fight, and Binnington just doesn't. Because there's been times before where the Blues were playing the Sharks, Binnington got pulled, and then he skated right by Dubnyk, and Dubnyk, okay, you want to do something, and then Binnington just kept on skating. So the guys all talk. I don't think he could do anything physical in the goalie fight whatsoever, but he could probably prove me wrong. Like he can fight, just not very well.
Yeah, he probably get his ass beat. Like he might drop them, but he might get his ass beat. But like,
I'd love to see that.
That would be great. But the other thing,
here's a question. Yeah. Sorry, fellas. I would love to see a Markstrom Binnington fight because those are like the two most like outspoken goalies on the ice. Like Markstrom is not afraid to slash players when the refs aren't looking after the whistle. But who's the one goalie you'd like to see him take on? Just a side note question. Just a side note question.
Jordan Binnington. A goalie like team take
that's
on?
Very interesting. I can't even think.
Like all the goalies in the league right now.
Wow.
That's a good question.
That's a great question. Holy shit.
There's no goalies that are like, they're like fighters or whatever. Like last year I would have said Mike Smith because Mike Smith. But
he's a battler.
Yeah. Like that guy will do something. I was gonna say Andrei Vasilevsky because he's like massive, so it would be kind of funny.
That would be cool.
Vasilevsky's got those crazy eyes too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
like
my,
Vasilevsky is like, and he's a giant. He's a giant. So like that would be pretty interesting. I don't know why Marc-Andre Fleury came to my head. I don't know why, but
I think that would be good too. Actually, not bad.
Like I don't know why.
I think he could throw hands.
If Robin Leonard was still playing like this year,
definitely.
Oh my goodness!
That's why I'm struggling here because a couple of those goalies like would get in there like they're retired or they're injured.
Yeah,
Quick.
So
Jonathan Quick.
Jonathan Quick would be good. Jonathan Quick would be good.
Markstrom would be my pick.
Markstrom's a good shout, honestly. Damn.
Tuukka Rask if he was still in the league. Tuukka
Rask too. Ooh.
Fortunately,
I'm trying. There's not too many like aggressive, outspoken goalies anymore. Like a lot of them are like Jerry said, like injured or they're retired or like they're injured retired. Combine them.
Injured retired, yeah.
But yeah. Shout out Jordan Bennington for doing nothing positive to the game. Next up we have the World Juniors. We're gonna focus on Canada's team mostly because we're all Canadian here. So let me go into this year. Let me read out the camps that were announced. So I'll note the standouts. Goaltenders, no one that I really recognize. I think I don't know who's gonna be the starter this year. Is it Ben Gaudreau or Tyler? I actually don't know. I have no idea. Like, usually I'm pretty up to date on this, but I don't know who the starters are.
It might be like the type of thing where they get the camp and then figure it out. Like, I don't know if there's a definite starter. It's not one of those years, I don't think. But I think they'll definitely get the camp, figure it out, or even split them. I don't know. I don't think there's a definite starter this year.
I can't remember the last year where Team Canada had a definite number one starter, like heading into maybe Fucali.
Devin Levi, maybe? Was he even definite?
It's got to be DiPietro, right?
Oh yeah, DiPietro.
Oh, DiPietro. Yeah. I forgot who the backup was that year.
I can't remember.
Was it Ian Scott?
Maybe.
I don't remember.
I can't remember if that was the same year, but it was in that kind of pool.
I know what you mean.
Yeah. There was a whole era where it's like Canada was very shaky in net because there was the 1 year where who was Fucali's backup, like Eric Comrie.
Yep.
Yeah, Eric Comrie. It's crazy how Eric Comrie's put together a nice little career. So good for him. Yeah. On defense, returning, we have Ethan Del Mastro, Mississauga boy. Carson Lambos is returning. And Olin Zellweger is also returning. But some other notables, Kevin Korchinski, he is coming in from, I believe, the Winnipeg Ice. So that's
Kevin
cool.
Korchinski, Seattle.
Or Seattle. I was looking at Carson Lambos. My bad. On forwards though, holy crap. You have Owen Beck, you have Connor Bedard, you have Colton Dack, Zachary Bolduc, Zach Dean. This team is crazy stacked, bro. Adam Fantilli, Riley Kidney, Brendan Othman, and then today they added Dylan Gunther and Shane Wright, and Brant Clark is coming to play defense for them. So this team might be crazy.
Honestly, this team reminds me of the 2015 team with McDavid about to be drafted. I think it's that good. It's that loaded. They should win every game.
I'm a big fan of Zellweger because I remember there was the summer tournament.
Yes.
And not every game, but there were most times where you could visibly see this kid could take over a game on the blue line. I was a big fan of the way he played in Anaheim. Boy, that was quite a pick from them.
They got him and Drysdale. So it's gonna be interesting. But Canada's gonna be good. But I do have USA's roster open here just because I feel like I know more players on USA and Canada. So
go off the roster, and I actually want to comment on two guys they didn't pick. But go on.
Oh, I know who you're gonna say.
Yeah.
So they have on defense, I'm just going to look at who I know here. Luke Hughes, Lane Hudson, Luke Middlestat are the guys that I know personally. I can't really comment on the other players. But forwards, Tyler Boucher, not very great. Logan Cooley. Who else is here? Just looking at it. Cutter Gauthier, that's a sick name. Chaz Lucius. They have Red Savage.
Cutter Gauthier, Flyers draft pick.
They got Will Smith. I guess he's not too busy these days. And then the omissions. I think we know the two guys we're all going to say here. It's Ty Voigt and Sasha.
Pastujov.
Yeah, Ty Voigt and Sasha Pastujov. Who Ty Voigt currently leads the OHL in scoring. He has 48 points, 27 games. I cannot believe that guy is what's Tyler Boucher doing there? You know what I mean?
He has more. I think I saw this yesterday that Ty Voigt has more. What was it? First assist than anyone has assists in total or something. It was the weirdest stat, but it was just it just goes to how good he's been this year, and they just left him off the roster. He's probably point production wise their best, or could have been their best player on the roster.
They say he's not the best inherent player, you know what I mean? But he puts up a lot of points, and he wouldn't be in USA's top 6. But who cares? take the guy.
Yeah, but the guy has scored 48. He's played, 27 games, you said?
48 points, 27 games. And, just bring him to camp. Just bring him.
Yeah, just bring him to camp.
I'm like, the Sasha Pastujov thing also doesn't make any sense.
No, because he's been electric, too.
Yeah, that guy just puts up points. And
he's fourth in goals. It's not just points. He actually scores Pastujov.
And he's another Anaheim Ducks prospect. It's crazy.
Yeah, but the Ducks are crap, so I would expect half these guys to be their prospects.
Okay,
I would hope that they have people coming up.
You're right.
Sorry. Go ahead, Matt.
Before we get into anything further, it always bothers me when countries sort of politic around with the selection camps. Send the best players you have. Don't hold grudges because a player chose NCAA over the CHL.
Yeah.
Because I know they did that in prior years. I don't have specific examples, but it's what's the point? What message are you sending? It's too late to change now. Just bring them. Because you really want to ice the best that we have if you want to showcase the world. Okay, these are the best junior players we have, instead of these are some of the best junior players we have. For stupid reasons I don't really want to get into. Here's who we didn't bring, and it's just very, very stupid of Hockey Canada and even the Russians too. I know the Russians, they're not in this year's tournament, but they wouldn't bring players who are playing in the CHL. They would only bring players who were in the KHL or the developmental league, the VHL. Yeah. It's what point are you trying to prove? Hey, you made the wrong decision, so we're not picking you. It's it is dumb.
Yeah, it's these politics. It just makes it honestly makes the tournament worse in a way because we're not seeing the best team iced. Yeah, exactly. No matter who it is, right?
Or even NHL teams that are obviously not using their younger players, so they're not releasing them. Because I know the Oilers did this to Draisaitl in 2015. They weren't doing anything with him, but they didn't release him. It's what's the point?
Really weird. Yeah.
It looks like now.
It looks like now they didn't really, need to let him develop because he's the player that he is right now. But it's there's an opportunity for him to play with some of the best players his age. Sure, the other players on Team Germany that year weren't really that good, but still.
I think the right thing is pretty interesting too because we've seen this happen before. Maybe not with someone as highly skilled as Wright heading into the World Juniors, but I think they wanted to keep him on Seattle, up with the Kraken as long as possible. And I think after the World Juniors, they're gonna let him go, dominate, hopefully win the gold medal, and then after they might keep him for a few games or send him back to the OHL right before that trade deadline.
They should send him back to the OHL.
I think that's the plan, but I don't think they wanted to send him back too early because he's going to go back to Kingston. Kingston's not fantastic this year. I think he's definitely moving from Kingston.
They're going to trade him for him. They're going to trade him.
But the trade deadline's January 10th. It's literally right when you get back. So I just don't think they wanted to send him back to Kingston.
Yeah, they've planned this out perfectly. So they gave him the 5-game stint. They let him come back against Montreal. He scores his first goal against Montreal. They sent him to the World Juniors. He comes back from the World Juniors. He is traded from Kingston to a championship level team in the OHL. And he goes and plays there. See what he does there. And then he comes back to Seattle in September. Now he's more developed. And they'll give him more minutes. They were playing him 5 minutes a night. Against Montreal, he played 13. So it's not worth it. Seattle, I think, already has their roster set. They're cool with who they have, and Beniers is playing really good. So they're fine with that. They don't really need a guy like Wright at this point in time.
Give him a year.
Are they sending Beniers to the World Juniors, or are they keeping him up?
Oh, they're keeping him.
They're keeping him.
Okay, all right.
That would be. Isn't he leading? Isn't he a Calder Trophy favorite? Why would they send him? Am I tripping?
Why would they send him?
Yeah, why would they send him to the World Juniors?
I don't think there's any reason to send him. Yeah. He's playing well for them.
Exactly.
Yeah, if he wasn't putting up points and not playing that much, I would see why. But I think he's a. Could he win the Calder this year? Isn't he a front runner?
I think he can.
Yeah,
I think he can.
So I don't.
It's him. It's him. Stuart Skinner's up there, and then
Logan Thompson.
Yeah. Logan Thompson probably has that one. Has the one banked.
But he's been great. But
I did want to talk about Carey Price, but I think we'll leave that subject alone today, just because it's a little bit it's a little bit political and
bit touchy.
I think the whole thing is
it's a miscommunication. That's what it is. I'm not going to defend either side, but it's like he didn't mean any ill intent. It was just a little tone deaf, and that's all I'm going to say about the topic.
Yeah, I think the overwhelming topic of this entire thing is read the room. At the end of the day, everyone needs to start reading the room.
It's crazy how hard that is, eh? Jesus.
It's crazy.
But yeah, I didn't want to. I did have it written down here, but I didn't want to dive into it too much because number one, I don't like talking about things I don't know a lot about. It just makes me look dumb. So, and I think it makes most people look dumb when they try and be experts on things they're not experts on. So we'll leave that at that.
I've never shot a gun before, so
yeah. And I think if you want to know more about the Carey Price stuff, there's a lot more stuff on Twitter for you to learn because Twitter's always on the right side of history. As we get into the Buffalo Sabres, yesterday, Tage Thompson had 4 goals in 1 period. I think I read online he had 4 goals in 6 minutes of ice time or something.
Yep.
Which was like insane. And in like 16 minutes of real game time. So Tage Thompson, and then I think he also added a 5th goal to cap the night off or something.
Yep.
So the Sabres are bad, but Tage Thompson is pretty good. Do you guys have anything to add to the Tage Thompson night? I just thought it was pretty sick to mention. Crazy.
He is a great player.
I lost. Oh, sorry. Go on. I'm gonna find the stat here.
Okay. He's worth every penny of that contract as it stands.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's a great player, and he's huge. He's physical. If they make the playoffs, not this year, I mean like down the road. Yeah, I know. If they make the playoffs down the road here and they're kind of rebuilding stint in this one, he's going to be a key piece. Like he's turned into a player. So.
And it's so weird how bad he was 2 years ago. Like he was he was terrible. And then I think Don Granado, I don't remember, but
Don Granado, the coach,
made him a center, and then just like did wonders for him. I think another thing, the problem with Tage Thompson is he was 6 foot, he's 6 foot whatever, and they wanted him to play like he was 6 foot whatever, or be like this net front banging guy, play physical. But that's just never been how he's ever played in his career. So now they're like, they're like, okay, he's 6 foot whatever, but he plays like he's 6'1", he plays like he's 6'2" or whatever,
But he uses his size still.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He's a skill finesse guy who uses his size. But they were trying to turn him into like Zdeno Chara as a forward.
Lucic. Yeah.
Yeah, or like something. Yeah. But he's just not that. So I'm glad they figured it out because he's cool to watch. It's good that the Sabres have like a legit. He's becoming a legitimate superstar.
Yes.
So it's cool for the Sabres. I think they're still 1 or 2 years out from actually making the playoffs the way the Atlantic is just set up. But yeah, man, Tage Thompson, cool and good player.
Yeah, last night he set the second fastest time for the fastest 4 goals to begin a game in NHL history. Took him 16:40 in the record. 101 years old, Joe Malone, took him 8 minutes and 45 seconds. But I mean, if you threw any one of us onto a 1921 ice surface, I think we could beat that quite easily. So
I can't even skate, and I probably could. So
different eras. But
yeah,
it's like there's a tweet I read where it's like every NHL record is set by Gretzky or some random guy in 1926 playing for the Bruins. Yeah, that's like that could not be any more true.
It's very true. Thompson's locked up till 2030 at 7.1, and I would take that for a 40 goal scorer. I would take that any day.
That's fantastic. Yeah,
I feel like
him and Tuck.
People were like rightfully skeptical when he signed that because he was just 1 year of him being good, and like there's no priors of him being good before that. But like, hey man, it's working out good. And cool, good. The Sabres have a lot of guys coming up as well, so they should be a fun team in the next couple of years. They just next year they'll be 10-0 in October and then lose every game from then on.
And then 72-10.
Yeah. No, not really. But moving back to the Oilers. The Oilers, what I have written here is they keep winning despite themselves. Matt, what do you think of the Oilers over the past week?
I'll start off with last night. It was nice to watch a game where I didn't have to stress at all. Seeing as they beat Arizona 8-2. Yeah, it's Arizona coming off like a 14-game road trip, but still, you take what you can get at this point. And then the previous game against that, Washington, where Washington put up it was Edmonton, who let 50 shots allowed by Washington. It was so ridiculous. You could
it was like 24 in the first period, right?
It was 24. Like the shot count was like 24 to it's either like 10 or 11. I might be wrong on that, but you could see that McDavid and Draisaitl are gassed. Woodcroft throwing them out every second shift because that bottom six can't do anything. It was nice to have who was it? Yamamoto was back against Washington. Still missing the key parts like Ryan McLeod and Evander Kane, who's still on LTIR. And you're just missing somebody on the blue line that can sort of hold down the minutes because Cody Ceci is not a, first pairing guy on the right side.
No, not particularly.
Yeah. Stuart Skinner, one of the bright spots on the team. Jack Campbell, not so hot. I think for some reason Campbell still has like a winning record, which speaks more about the Oilers than it does Campbell himself because he let in 3, and then the Oilers are okay, I guess we got to go score 4 or 5, and then they go do that. The power play is what's keeping this team alive. The game against Montreal, there were like 2 separate 5-on-3s, and that's pretty much what won them the game. So there are the Oilers. They are frustrating but exciting to watch at the same time. And we're in year 8 of McDavid, and we're still trying to find people to put around him.
Insanity.
Do you think they're gonna get someone like a big fish at the deadline?
Holland doesn't really like to trade like anything big. He just does like a bunch of small moves because there was the COVID year where he traded for Oiler legend Mike Green, Andreas
Oh man, for what, 2 games, 3 games or something? That was
3 games. He got hurt. Then in the bubble, he said I don't want to do this, and he retired. Nah.
He said, peace.
Yeah, it was Green.
Wait, wasn't he like point per game in those games or something?
I think
so, but I think one of them was against Anaheim, so it doesn't really count at that point. So
funny.
Sad.
Yeah, I love weird stats like that. Like he went in there, played 3 games, point per game, and then he's like, yeah, I think I'm just gonna retire.
Stats that exist but do not matter. Holland won't do anything big. Like I don't think he'll go after Carlson or Chychrun.
Yeah.
Or Patrick Kane, which was rumored at the beginning of the year. I don't think Patrick Kane would want to go to Edmonton.
I think he would. I think he would.
I think Patrick Kane would go to Edmonton over Toronto.
I think he would go to Toronto over Edmonton, but I don't think he'd say no to Edmonton. Imagine Patrick Kane and McDavid. Like that'd be pretty fun.
That would.
And then Hyman's got to do all the defensive work.
Yep, literally.
So, but I think he's a UFA. Is it this summer?
Yeah.
Yeah. He is. You're right. So,
okay.
So I could see him open to the Oilers because then he could sign wherever he wants. Really, if that's an issue, because guys hate playing Canada.
Yeah, there's an article where it's like top Oilers trade targets, and the thumbnail was Zach McEwen. I was like, oh my god, please don't go for Zach McEwen. Just because Evander Kane is out doesn't mean that you have to go for a guy like Zach McEwen. Because Clean Costin.
But Evander Kane, Zach McEwen is Evander Kane without like any of
the skill,
being good at hockey.
The skill, yeah. Like he can hit, he can fight, not so well, but he can fight. So it's like I don't get all the Flyer fans that defended him, and I know of one particular Flyer fan saying he's not that bad. It's like no, he's terrible. That bad.
He's terrible.
He is that bad. You just have to realize it. But
the Flyers don't have that many great players, so
no.
Realize.
What do you mean?
So,
JVR is awesome.
Who's it? JVR?
No, I think he's hurt.
Isn't he on? Yeah, he's hurt. He's always hurt though. That's the thing.
Yeah, especially in his later years, the last few years, always hurt.
I'd be hurt if I had to be on that Flyers team too. I tell you.
Hey, you're hurt now.
You're hurt. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. You have an allergy to your equipment. Go up to the press box. Retire.
That's crazy, eh? That the league, that Marian Hossa shit was crazy. The league's like, oops,
I pretend I do not see it.
Yeah.
What was I saying? I think we talked about it earlier. It's like the Hawks, like, hey, you want to come see his allergy? And the league's like, nope, we believe you. No,
we good.
Y'all got it.
You have it right here on this piece of paper.
I have an allergy.
Well, yeah.
But who's it talking about? Clean Costin. That's the guy that we got in the trade for Samorukov for St. Louis.
Oh yeah.
I think Holland won that trade, fellas.
I mean, I would think so. Like Clean Costin's young. It just makes sense.
Yeah.
He's had a Gordie Howe hat trick last night.
Yeah, good for him.
Yeah. No, Asterisk fought Zach Cassian in his first game back to Edmonton. So you kind of see that as like a changing of the guard where Cassian's like, okay, you're the new guy that can sort of fight and score at the same time.
Klim Koss is going to be your new enforcer.
Yep.
Okay. Well, you guys are looking great.
Our Russian enforcer.
Yeah.
What's wrong with that? What? Those can't exist, Matt?
No, one existed. I just forgot his name.
Okay. All right. The Leafs take on the LA Kings tonight. TJ Brody is back from injury. Ilya Samsonov is starting in net.
I didn't know he was back. That's awesome.
Oh, you didn't know TJ Brody was back?
Yeah,
he's back tonight.
Sorry. Yeah, that's great.
He's back tonight. The Leafs look to continue their hot streak as of late. They've basically been winning every single goddamn game they play. So it's been a lot of fun, and it's been a lot of injuries. So I don't know what they're gonna do. Although Brody's back, so it does help with the pairings. I don't know if they're gonna play Timmins or Hollowell, but I think with Mete injured, we'll probably play Connor Timmins.
I would think Timmins will come in just to get him some reps too.
Yeah, Connor Timmins cool. He's cool. You know, he does his thing. He's really out there skating and stuff. So good for him.
If you don't notice a defenseman, they're doing a good job.
Yeah, he had a couple times against Dallas where he just fell, randomly.
But watching that game, the ice, I feel like it was the ice because even the puck was I felt like the players were really fighting it. I don't know. It might have just been the ice, and also first game back and with a new team and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Right?
So just to wrap up the this portion of the podcast, Matt, question: do you think Marner's point streak will end tonight?
Against the Kings, I feel like if the Kings get one early, they'll settle back into that stupid trap game. But no, it continues tonight.
Darius?
It continues. He's going to get an assist on a Nylander goal on the power play.
Okay, damn. Oddly specific. I will also say that it continues tonight. I'm not going to say how because, I'm not as psychic as Darius is. So with that being said, do my little shout out to Matt for buying the premium Zoom account. Shout out to Darius for producing the show. Shout out to me for editing. And follow us on all our socials, our individual Twitters, our TikTok. We post a lot there. There's a really cool video of our 10-9 win in ESHL. I posted on the TikTok.
I did see that. Yes.
It didn't do too bad on there. But the wrap question for the podcast today, this one might be a little bit of an intellectual one, for the boys. Who is a name that you think will be traded that would surprise a lot of people?
So someone that's obviously not been in the media, as a
maybe
trade
not too
target?
much. Maybe not too much. Yeah.
Interesting. Obviously Brock Boeser would be they're talking about it, so that's not someone that's out of left field. Very interesting. Matt, do you have one in mind?
I kind of have one, but I know he's out 3 to 6 weeks. I'm going to go out of left field here and say Mackenzie Blackwood.
Ooh, okay. That's not a bad one. It's not a bad one at all. Wow. Okay. Mackenzie Blackwood. Weird.
I could kind of go into specifics because I know they have Vanacek and Akira Schmid. Because I know Schmid's...
They also have Nico Dawes.
They do.
And
Schmid's still a little unproven. But I watched him in the game against Philly the other night. Didn't look too bad. Again, it's Philly, but still. Yeah, Blackwood.
I don't think it's a bad pick at all.
No. I guess I'm going to pick a Leaf, and this might be because it might not be out of left field because everyone talks about the Leafs and they're the center of the universe, apparently. But I think not enough has been made about the fact that when Riley comes back, they're over the cap. So somebody's got to go. And I think it's going to be Mr. Kerfoot. I think that's the only reason I feel like they're playing him, right? Because if you're sitting
everybody on Leafs Twitter is trying to trade him, Darius.
Yeah, I don't know if it's too out of left field there, Didi. I don't know about that, bro.
I don't know. Are they really talking about that?
I talk about it every day.
Yeah, but is it because you hate him or is it a strategic thing? Because I feel like he literally. I don't know if they're talking too much about how when Riley comes back, somebody has to go and his cap hit would help. So I don't know if it's necessarily out of left field, but they got to get rid of him. So.
Yeah, I guess so. Okay, I have mine. Mine is center. Plays in the Western Conference.
Can I guess?
Recently, yeah, guess.
Connor McDavid.
No, it's not. Although that would be, I'd say that'd be a little bit surprising. It'd be a little bit surprising. Center in the Western Conference. Recently won a Stanley Cup expiring contract, perennial Selke finalist every year.
Oh,
Ryan O'Reilly.
Ryan
O'Reilly.
Yeah.
Ryan O'Reilly. The Blues aren't doing too hot. We talked about them earlier. Ryan O'Reilly is obviously an expiring deal. He's a little bit up there in age. The Blues, you know, their whole core, they have guys mixed in like Robert Thomas and Jordan Kyrou, but you look at the Braden Shens of the world, the Ryan O'Reillys of the world, and then you look at the Justin Folks of the world. Look at Jordan Binnington, even Torrey Krug isn't what he used to be. Colton Parayko, all that stuff. I think they could trade Ryan O'Reilly to a team and get a nice little return for him. He's what you want going into the playoffs. Defensively responsible. He's done before. He has a cup. I believe he has a Conn Smythe.
Yeah.
And then good rental. He doesn't make too much money, so you can easily retain there, do a double retention. I just think the writing is on the wall for Ryan O'Reilly to be moved to a different team for a nice little return. I don't think it makes sense for the Blues to try and make the playoffs and then lose in the first round because, like, they might be a playoff team. I think at this point for them, they need some more youth injection in there. They do have guys like, as I said, like a guy like Scott Perunovich is like pretty young. He's okay. Obviously, I said Kyrou, Thomas, those people, but yeah, I think Ryan O'Reilly is a guy who could pick up some traction, especially going into the deadline. Every team could use a center like Ryan O'Reilly, so you can expect a lot of teams, if he's available, to be throwing a lot of stuff at him. But that's my
UFA at the end of the year, so that makes it just that much more juicy, I think.
Yeah, the Blues are much like the Flames, where they have a roster that's built for the playoffs. The obstacle is getting to the playoffs. Like they have the players, they have the players that are capable of, you know, that have the experience. But again, it's just the long grind that they have to partake in order to get there.
For sure.
Josh Leavell, by the way, St. Louis Blues legend. But I think honorable mention too. Obviously, there's a lot of talk about Erik Karlsson because he's at, like, if you're gonna trade him, you have to do it now. If you're the Sharks, but also Timo Meier. I think they're gonna want to shed him too by the end of the year, so that should be interesting to watch too.
The problem with Timo Meier is he's an RFA at the end of the year.
Yeah.
But his qualifying offer is $10 million.
Yeah.
It's $10 million.
But do you think someone like, it might be unprecedented, but like, does somebody take him on as like a rental? It's just let's just use him for the playoffs.
I think what you could do is remember when like kind of what the Hurricanes did with Kotkaniemi, where they gave him a 1-year deal and they could negotiate with him for a longer deal at less term. So I think you could take a guy like Meier, be like, okay, we'll give you the qualifying offer just to keep you within your rights, and then like if you're willing, we'll give you a longer deal at obviously less than $10 million. So and I think that might be something you do because you give a guy like that 7 or 8 years, right? He's not too old. So
it depends where he goes. No, he's worth what, 8 probably? On
8
the
or
right
9,
team?
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so
for
like
sure.
He's in the ballpark. You just need the right team. So it all depends on who wants to get him.
Yeah, I think Timo Meier would also be.
Though.
Yeah, I think if the Sharks can shed Meier and Karlsson, it would.
Yeah.
Although I wouldn't be mad if they kept a guy like Timo Meier because he's really, really good and he's not too old. But Karlsson is a guy that doesn't fit their timeline at all.
By the time Meier's good again, though, I mean, by the time the Sharks are good again, Meier's gonna be like 31, probably.
I don't mind that.
That's not too old though.
I know, but for him, he probably wants to.
Ancient.
He might want to move on too, right? Maybe
no, if he wants to move on, obviously.
Rebuild, right?
Yeah, obviously trade. But I think if you're gonna I wouldn't be like, oh, why did they do that if they kept him? You know what I mean?
Right.
So yeah, so Karlsson they should definitely trade. They still have a bunch of guys too, like Logan Couture is he's pretty locked in there. So we'll see.
Yeah, he's not moving. Same with Vlasic. Like, you're eating that.
Vlasic, I said in our podcast, man, worst contract in the league. It's
of all time,
close.
probably of all time. Like, you're eating that now. Like, that's not going anywhere. It sucks.
So bad.
Like, oh my god. And Karlsson too. You gotta. They're retaining at least half of that. Like 50%.
I would take anything to get rid of that contract. Like, I don't care how good he is. I don't think
you're
looking
paying
at
half
him.
of that. It's only for the next 4 years. And are you gonna win the Stanley Cup in the next 4 years?
No,
not.
They don't have. They have some young guys, but they're not up there yet. They're still waiting on guys like William Eklund and who did they just pick? I'm forgetting, but
man, I can't remember. Go on.
But I think it'll be a while until they're good. They have a lot of young guys coming up, but right now they're in purgatory because their old good guys are making so much money where they can't bring in younger guys or there's no point of playing William Eklund on a team like this. So just let him go. Let him get more minutes elsewhere. So just makes.
And it's also a learning experience too for Mike Grier because he's just getting his feet wet into the whole GM business too.
Yeah.
So.
Their pick last year was Philip Bysted, I think. Bysted. He's Swedish.
Philip Bysted?
Yeah.
Okay.
Forward. So
I assume he's good. So
first round pick.
Yeah. So with that being said, though, we'll wrap it up here. Thank you everyone for listening. It is almost the holiday season. I think we're all excited for that. I said that in the beginning of the show. It's been now that my school semester is over, I've been a lot less stressed, which is kind of nice. I hope you guys are all enjoying the hockey season so far. And if you're watching this in the day, enjoy your day. If you're watching this at night, enjoy your night. And if you're driving, it still hasn't snowed here in Toronto, but I'm sure it's snowing in other places. So drive safe, get your winter tires on, do all that fun stuff. And shout out to my co-host again, and have a good one, everyone. Peace out.
Thanks for watching and listening to the Gritcast. For more content, visit our YouTube channel and check us out on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Don't forget to follow the guys on social media at Matt_Mondays, at Nick LaFlame, and at Darius Dominguez.